Alright guys, we're back today with information and strategies for Club Conquest. So I know for a lot of teams out there, it's been a little difficult sometimes getting your players together. And the biggest thing I can tell you is really focus on Discord and try and get everyone to be really active on Discord, because that's the only way you're really going to be able to coordinate stuff with your team. And if not, the second best route is to have do the club chat, but the club chat just gets a little bit messy in my opinion compared to Discord, where there can be dedicated conversations, dedicated channel, like whatever, I don't know what they're called, but basically dedicated messenger things for Club Conquest. And so let's just go into Club Conquest. So this is this week's Club Conquest for us. So I've only been with this club for 3 weeks. And this is our third Club Conquest, and the first 2 weeks we just pretty much destroyed everyone. Like we got to 45,000 pretty easily, and I think the other teams were like at less than 20,000. This week, this red team here was much more aggressive. So I actually did not start the battle for me until about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours into the actual attack phase. And so by the time I already started, this red team just destroyed this blue team. I mean, they just went and demolished them. It was pretty crazy. And they didn't even try to really touch us, because as you can see, all our C8 through C12 here are intact. And it was pretty, that's pretty good. We had some pretty, I can't look at the towers anymore, but we had some pretty strong tower defenses for sure. Like whenever you have these front lines here, these always are like over 2,500 usually for our club. And I don't consider us like the very super strong club yet, but we're getting there we're getting a lot stronger every week. I would say we're like a mid-tier club. We're definitely not on the lower end, we're definitely like a mid-tier club. But going with that, so the way I look at it, whenever we see a team, the way Club Conquest works is that Friday and Saturday you guys are like setting your defenses, and then Saturday in the morning you guys find out your matches, and then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday you guys are fighting. But usually, at least for us, we only encountered fighting up until Monday evening. We usually get all 45. You have to reach 45,000 coins or points, whatever the case may be, in order to finish the match. So the first team to 45,000 wins that week's Club Conquest. And like I said, we've never gone past Monday. We usually like pretty much defeated the teams pretty easily. Like this week might have been a little concerned because this red team was really aggressive and really strong, and they really tried to fight back, and we were just able to suppress them for some reason. And I think it's because they really spread out their team all the way out here, and not something I recommend for sure. And it went really fast, and it was just too aggressive for them. That's one thing I can tell you about that. So some tips I can give you in planning, for instance. So what we do is that we have the leaders put out the defenses, because if you have everyone trying to put their teams out, well, you don't know who has the strongest team besides the leaders. So if you have if someone maybe a newer guy, or someone who just thinks maybe I have the strongest team, maybe you have like, I don't know, an Incredibles team that's like 2,500 or 2,400 power, but then you find out someone else has an Incredibles team that's like 2,600, 2,800 power. Well, who are you going to put out first? You're probably going to put that 2,800 team, but let's say you have a bunch of 2,800 teams, 2,700 teams versus 2,400 team. It doesn't matter, those power points stuff, because it just means higher levels, probably higher gear, probably higher abilities, etc. So we let the leaders put out their defenses, because it just makes it much more efficient and much more effective in that sense. Because as you can see, we've done it weeks and weeks, and no one's really tried to attack us at this point. And another thing that we look at once that's during setting up defenses, but once it comes to Saturday and you see, well, actually, at least for me it's Saturday. It might be different for some of you guys. Saturday morning for me. But when you look at the clubs you're fighting, that you're matched up with, the first thing I do is I look here. This is very important, and I'm pretty sure most of you probably know this already. I look at their last check-in. If their last check-in, because I've seen this before, where like you get to like maybe like halfway and it was like, you know, an hour, 45 minutes, something like that, a couple hours, and then let's say like you get to like this guy right here. This guy, Kokujin down, is like, I don't know, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 20 days, whatever the case may be, and then the last person's like 100 days, I don't know. But if you look at that, that tells you how active the club is. If the club has, you know, pretty consistent, because I've seen it where this last person here was only 8 hours, so that club is very, very active, and that's, I mean, that's a good thing for the club because that means their team is very active. But in terms of, you know, battling them, they're going to be a tough thing to beat because they're always active, they're always fighting, and they want those rewards just as bad as you do. And also, you know, it just depends on like how committed your team is. Also, it depends on how what you're gonna do in this entire thing. But then the second thing I look at is summoner score. This kind of gives me an idea of how strong their defenses are gonna be or how strong their team's gonna be. Of course, you know, you're gonna have some lower end tier players. They're gonna get stronger each week, but if you see like a bunch of like 50,000 and above teams or players on here, there's some cause of concern. Like, okay, these guys probably have some pretty strong defenses, and in this case, this guy had some 3,000 teams, and he was able to hold. Like, for instance, he had this guy put, I think, his like 3,000 team on this A11 node, and we couldn't get it. No one could get past it. He was just too powerful for us. And it was very, very just rough experience. So in terms of tactics, so when I look at this battle in retrospect, so everyone starts off, you know, equally. Blue had all of these B1 through B12 here, and the red team had A1 through A12, and we also had C1 through C12. And what happened, from what I remember seeing, is that the red team just literally went straight in for blue because they had some really weak defenses, and we actually had, I think, B12, B7, and B6 like the first couple hours, and then they just kind of exhausted all their really good teams, I think, and so we went for a counterattack. At one point we did have A12, A11, and A10. A good tip, and I think a very important tip, is if you're going to attack, do not go in a line like this. If we were to attack the red team here, which we did, the worst thing you can do is go A12, A7, A3. And why is that? Because if you go in a line, for instance, and they still have A2, A6, A11, and they go for A12, they can cut you off from these two nodes. And there's a bonus when you have all your nodes connected. That's the important part. I mean, you'll still get points for having A3 and A7, for instance, but you won't get that bonus because not all your nodes are connected, or all your towers are connected. It's very important. And at one point towards the end, I was very concerned. I was actually probably annoying my team. I was like, we need to get A12, because at one point all we had was A10 here, because we had lost A11 and A12, and people were going for like A9, A8, and A5. And I was like, no, you need to go for A11 and A12, because you have like this line here. If you're gonna attack, like for instance, if I was gonna attack from this side, I would go for B10, B11, and B12 at the same time, because you move in one horizontal line, then a vertical line in this sense. If you go in a vertical line, you're going to be cut off, I guarantee you, because there's so many more attack points. It's okay, for instance, if you went in A12, A11, A10, and let's say they took out A10 or they took out A12, at least you still have A11 and A10 connected because they're right next to each other. So that's one thing I would go for. And for instance, if I were to do that, I would attack these three and then move on. Because once you have these three, they're connected to your team. I mean, they're connected to your main set of towers. So once you do that, then you can go after going after these three and going after over here. And some strategies obviously that we did was that since this team was going so aggressive towards blue, and blue was like, I mean, they were pretty much done the first couple hours, because once you lose that many towers that quickly, it's really hard to fight back. And I mean, this team was not terrible from what I remember. Because look, I mean, they have some pretty powerful players, you know, but maybe they just don't really care about Club Conquest. Because I mean, okay, well that makes sense. I didn't see this part when I was first looking at it, but obviously they have some pretty, you know, more or less dead players from the game. But Yeah, I mean, once you lose that many towers in the first hour, I mean, they literally took over. I think they lost all of the B4 through B12, all these towers here, and even up to over here. I think B1, they just lost them all in like the first hour or two. So that can be very devastating to come back from, because you're always fighting from such a small, vantage point or something. You only have like a few ones to go to, and since those are like the first towers that they took over and then the closest to you, they're gonna put the strongest defenses up there. Because when you take over a tower, you need to put in new defenses, and when that happens, sometimes sorry, friends, just flowing in my throat. For instance, when that happens, you have to put defenses on there, and I do this. I kind of wait out and see if someone's gonna put a stronger, team on there, because I don't want to put like a weak team. For instance, like putting in like a 1500 and above team, at least in our levels right now for my team, not the strongest. 1500, but it's doable. Like, it'll give you some defenses. You put anything less than that, it becomes like a shit show, more or less. Oops, shouldn't say that, but sorry. But let's, for instance, I think I put one of my 900 teams here, an A9. I'm pretty sure it was one that got defeated, but I just wanted to put it there because I wanted someone to at least defend it. Because if you leave it defenseless, another team can just take it over without having to fight it. You get once you claim, or once you like defeat a tower, and you claim it, you have 1 hour to, they call it rebuilding, to basically put defenses on there. And if you don't put a defense on there in that 1 hour, another team can get it without even having to fight. So you have to always remember, be active, be a team, be like, hey, guys, on your Discords, be like, hey guys, we just took over, for instance, A10. Can you guys put some defenses on there? I don't have any, good defenses on there. And even like double it up, like if someone's not paying attention on Discord, and put it in the chat in the game. Hey, we need, defenses, basically. Because if you don't do that, then I was gonna get easily reclaimed. But also, you could put like really weak teams, like less than 1,000, less than 1,200, and they just get obliterated pretty easily. And I want to think one of the most difficult things that new players have with Club Conquest is that you literally only get to use one squad one time. So let's say I have a Frozen team, and I have, I don't know, Fairy Magic and Golden Hammer, and let's say I go after, and let's say that team is like, I don't know, 2,500 or 3,000, and I go after like an 1,800 team. You're never going to use that team for that Club Conquest that week again. So it's pretty much a waste. So Club Conquest, the strategy I would say is save those, powerful teams for like later on, because once people have exhausted their teams a little bit and you still have a really powerful team, then that's when you can really attack. And I've seen people, I would call them like the sleeping assassins, because they'll just like wait until like day 2 when a lot of players have already wasted all their good defenses and good teams, and they just take over towers and they cut us off, because they were just patient and they knew like you're not going to win the first day. There's like really, in order for you to win the first day, you literally just have to go ballistic. Like your team just has to go full force attacking their team, attacking their towers, and just go all out. I've never seen that. I think this red team tried to do that, but when they tried to push against us, we just pushed right back, so it wasn't too much of a threat. But I think I pretty much covered things. I would say also for defenses, if you're setting defenses, make sure you have team synergy. Like, let's see, you can even look at mine. So you can see here, a lot of my teams aren't that strong yet besides my main team. And my main team is obviously this Kingdom team. And I don't even use all these characters. In my regular Kingdom team, I have Aladdin, Shan Yu, Anna. Actually, instead of Robin Hood, I usually have Big Bad Wolf. Even though he's not a Kingdom character, I just like him in my Kingdom team. And Jasmine. So, and actually the Golden Hammer and the Mortal Potion is probably what I would use anyways. So, that is my strongest team. And there's some pretty good synergy in there because they're all Kingdom characters. So they have the speed boost from Shan Yu. And let's see here. I have my Frozen team, which is not that strong yet, but I'm actually starting to level up a little bit right now. And here's my Downtown Villains team. At least I tried to. Because the only problem is my Downtown's villain team kind of got sucked up a little bit by my tech team. So they're much more powerful. if my tech team had more people. But this week I have Quora, so at least my tech team I can probably at least replace Merida there. That would be good. But once I get like Calhoun and Gizmo, then that would be good, because then I can move Syndrome and Demona up to my actual Downtown Villains team, and they'll be pretty good synergy team there. And if I go over here, I almost have a full Oceanic team here. I'm just missing maybe Davy Jones or Bubbles, and this will be a good synergy team in terms of Oceanic. And then Downtown Heroes team here. It would be cool to have a full Incredibles team, but I just didn't have the resources and stuff to get an Incredibles team this past event. But this is a pretty okay Downtown Heroes team. You see, with tech coming into the mix, it's kind of hard because you got to spread out your team a little bit. So that's how I have in my case. But if I could have a mythical team, I'll try another one. But the only problem is with mythical is that you kind of get spread out. Like I lose Olaf over here. Hades would be a good mythical character. I don't think I have actually any other. I'm not sure if Tink's Oceanic. But yeah, so synergy is I would say very important for Club Conquest, because power is important as well, but just having that synergy together with the team, the bonuses, multiply. Like with the speed bonus alone for Kingdom players in the Shan Yu team, Kingdom team, very important. So I would say I think that's pretty much it for this video. I don't know anything else off the top of my head what I could do, and a lot of these videos just come to the top of my head. That's the thing. Like I just think about it and I just go. So if you guys have any questions, any suggestions, put in the comments. Another good one is to go to Cozy Gamer. He has a good Discord where they talk about this kind of stuff. But I just wanted to make a video discussing some of these topics because I think it's gonna be important for people who really want to just like figure out what happens in Club Conquest and stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I guess one more thing to talk about is rewards. You do get an ultimate chest. You get some runes for Alpha, Beta, and Gamma runes, and you get some shards for. It's always Captain Hook, Jack Sparrow, and Davy Jones. So Oceanic really, and I think that's it. I think you get some club coins, and I think you get some gold coins too as well, and maybe some gems. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So you know what to do. Like, subscribe, everything like that. And I will see you guys in the next DSA video. Have a good one, guys.